It is a Thursday, and we are getting ready for the Bettorcast. He is Marc Malusis. I am Keith Irizarry. And listen, I'm a little underdressed right now for this Jacksonville Jaguars, New Orleans Saints game.
Black tie affair. What do you mean? You didn't get the email?
I didn't, and I bring that up because you're all dressed up. I'm not. Will the Jaguars be dressed up? Will they have Trevor Lawrence tonight? What do you think?
Are you a tuxedo guy?
I like tuxedos. Yeah.
You like I've never worn a tuxedo.
The big question about the tuxedo always is, do you purchase a tuxedo or rent a tuxedo? Because how often are you using that tuxedo? Jody made me buy a tuxedo, so I have.
Oh, you bought a tuxedo?
I have one.
Look at you, Mr. Yes. Black tie affair.
Well, listen, invite me to something, and I'll. You're
a hobnobber. You just are. It's amazing.
I like to drink my pinky up like this. All right,
finger up. The pinky finger up. No, well, listen. Yes, I am dressed up. I'm fired up. We got a Bettorcast tonight. It's Thursday Night Football. It's Jaguars. It's Saints. It's in the Dome. We know how raucous the Saints fans are. Great city, great food, great everything down there in New Orleans and the Bayou. So looking forward to a little Thursday Night Football. We've got big Bettorcast and questions to answer. And I've been hot as a firecracker. I think I'm 6-0 the last 2 days.
Yeah, you are. By the way, as a team, we're 12-0 over the last 2 days. All right? We're crushing it, which means now we're going to go 0-6. Now, jokingly, you've said this before. You can play with us or fade us. It is up to you. So, Moose, I want you to go first on this one. And with Trevor Lawrence, we're assuming he's playing tonight. If he's on the field or even if he's not, what does it do to Calvin Ridley?
It's a really good Saints defense. We know that. But I think Ridley ends up, going and having himself a game and going over his yardage prop, where you're looking at 53.5 receiving yards with Calvin Ridley. He started the season really strong, then he struggled. I think he's rounded back into form. I know you've gotten Christian Kirk and others back in that receiving room. When you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's a very, very good Saints defense tonight. But the number's 53.5. You don't have to do a lot to get over 53.5. If you're Calvin Ridley, that's where I would land with my first pick tonight. Calvin Ridley over 53.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I think the question about Ridley for me would be, does he get 4 catches tonight? If he gets 4 catches, then I think over 53.5 makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go with another Jaguar here, and Travis Etienne is the question. Over under 64.5 rushing yards. Now, listen, he's only topped this 3 of 6, and I use only because typically I would like to be able to give you a 4 of 6 or a 5 of 6, but 3 of 6. But he has been a main cog in the wheel that is the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. So they lean on him often. He had a pair of touchdowns last week, had a pair of touchdowns the week before. Even if Lawrence is out of the game, I think that Etienne will eat. If Lawrence is in the game, I think he eats as well. I think there are, and you said, you mentioned Kirk and you mentioned Ingram and all of these guys, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars is one of those offenses where you may not typically get 120 yards out of people. It really might just be everyone gets 50, 60, 70 yards. And if that happens, we both hit.
Yeah. And you know what? Hopefully we do. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I know we're going to look at the total of the game and we're going to make a pick on the game, where there's plenty to get into when you're looking at the matchup tonight between Jacksonville and New Orleans. I think it's intriguing. I think, New Orleans coming off a game in which they probably easily could have won the game. So it was a tough luck loss and Carr struggled. And Jacksonville's coming off 3 straight wins. That's why I love tonight's matchup as well.
Hey, join the Bettorcast contest by answering pregame questions right now. Get all of our picks for the game by signing up for On Demand on the Bettorcast app. You can download the app in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and sign up, as always, for On Demand. Moose, it is game day. You've got the Saints. They're 3-3. They're hosting the Jaguars, who are 4-2, winners of 3 consecutive games. Coming into the season, a lot of people really thought the Jaguars had an opportunity to maybe be the 1 seed in the AFC because they didn't have the toughest schedule. If we go a little bit further into this matchup here, the Saints have dominated the Jaguars over the years, but it's a different Jacksonville Jaguars team. So let's dive into some more questions for us here. And Moose, we'll go to you first on this one. Chris Olave.
Yeah.
On the Saints side. Crucial player for New Orleans. Over, under 60.5 receiving yards is what we're asking.
Yeah, I would go over the total. I like over for Chris Olave, the total, when you're looking at the matchup tonight, for a number of different reasons. Listen, we'll get to Carr. I have a lean on what you're going to get from Carr tonight when you're looking at his yardage total going up against Jacksonville. But, listen, Carr's not going to throw for 95 yards tonight. And, Mike Thomas has been resurgent this year. He's actually been healthy. Is it the same Mike Thomas that he was before he got ravaged by injury the last 3 years? No. Olave ends up being the go-to guy. He can make some amazing catches. I would go over that total. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go over on that too, and I'm going to lock that one in. Let's go over 60.5 receiving yards. Had 96 yards last week. Has had 86 or more receiving yards in 4 of 6 games this season. And Jacksonville is an okay defense. I think tonight is a night where Derek Carr, I'm not saying that he's going for 400 yards, but I think he will be effective. All right, so if I'm bringing up Derek Carr, and I think he'll be effective. I don't think he's going to be a world beater, though. One of the questions we have for Bettorcast is Derek Carr over or under 235.5 passing yards. And Moose, this is one you want to lock in.
Yeah, I'm going under. I'm locking it in. I mean, I would go under 235.5 for a couple of different reasons. First off, I don't know how healthy the shoulder is. I think you can throw on that Jacksonville secondary. However, all he does is love to check the football down. I mean, he loves to dump the pass, dump the ball off. He does it time and time and time again. And even after, the latest loss against the Houston Texans, he said, I don't really care about stats. All I care about are wins and losses, I guess. I mean, they signed you the contract. They signed you to get you to be a difference maker at the quarterback spot. I think you move the ball on Jacksonville. I just don't know if it's going to be Derek Carr going for 255 to 275. Scoring is down across the National Football League. I don't have a ton of confidence in the quarterback. I'll go under the total.
Yeah, the under has been the play for many of these Thursday Night Football games. So I'll go under on the game total. That's one of our questions. 40.5 is the number. So if you just simply do math, Moose, the Saints are giving up 16 points per game. That is the 6th lowest in the NFL. The Jaguars are kind of in the middle at 20.3. That's 36.3 points per game these two teams give up. That's an under. I'm worried about the Jacksonville offense a tad, right? We talked about that with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's going to be very mobile tonight. And you just laid it out. Derek Carr has not been a world beater. He's not taking New Orleans by storms. He's not giving out beignets. He's just not. It's a lot more of field goals. So actually, by the way, if you want, maybe you look at a field goal prop for either of these teams. So I'll take the under here on this game. And I know this was one that you were looking at a little bit, not one that you're officially locking in, but one you were looking at.
No, but I agree with you. I take the under in the game. I mean, first off, you look at red zone efficiency across the National Football League is down for a number of different reasons. A line play ravaged by injury or talent has been a disaster in some situations as well. Teams not scoring, settling for field goals. So with that, short work week, Thursday night game, Saints, Jaguars, good Saints defense, banged up, Trevor Lawrence, not really entirely sure what you get from Carr. I think it's probably more of a low-scoring affair, so I would agree with you. For a number of those factors, I would take the under.
Let's run through some of the other questions that we'll have tonight. Which team will score first? Not one of the ones that you and I felt very confident about.
Roll the dice.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
No. Which team will win? Now, Burnsy's behind the scenes, Tommy, Heather, everyone's behind the scenes, and they were subtly surprised that neither of us picked a winner in this one. I'll just say this. The reason I didn't pick a winner is I don't know who the quarterback will be for Jacksonville. I can't pick a winner in this game.
Yeah, and I think the NFL is such a week-to-week league. I think Jacksonville has looked better. Everybody and their mother loved the Indianapolis Colts that I talked to last Sunday. And what happened? Jacksonville wins that game, and not only wins the game, but they cover the spread. So I think you hit upon it. I think if we're looking at, Lawrence doesn't get hurt late in that game, and you're looking without a shadow of a doubt, 100% Trevor Lawrence going into the game tonight, I think you and I mean, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I would be on Jacksonville.
I would too.
And I think he's going to play tonight. Like, I think he's going to give it a go. I just don't know what version of Trevor Lawrence we're going to get. I mean, I'm not breaking any news, just gut feel. I think if he was out, he was out. Like, I think he's going to try and give it a go.
So there's another thing, and it doesn't really have much to do with the Bettorcast for tonight, but for fantasy players out there, which obviously they'll be in our Bettorcast and they'll be asking those kind of questions too. a big question is, do you start Trevor Lawrence if you have him in fantasy? And I'll take this closer to home, right?
No.
So my 12-year-old son, Austin, there you go. Good. You already said no. He's got Trevor Lawrence as his starting quarterback. He's been solid this year. His backup, because it's a larger league, is Baker Mayfield, who also was a little banged up last week. So he's quite the conundrum there.
That's a problem. Who's on the waiver wire?
Nobody. It was like Joshua Dobbs, which we thought about.
Well, then you've got, I guess. On the road with Dobbs in Seattle against the Seahawks, but that Seahawks defense is not great. But you could start to see like the early energy that Arizona had in this season start to get deflated. I don't know where you go. I guess you got no other choice. I can't start Baker.
Yeah, I think you got to roll with Trevor Lawrence if that's the only option you have. And I bring it up because Trevor Lawrence, assuming he plays tonight, one of the questions will be over or under 240.5 passing yards, which is something he does, but I don't know if he'll do it on a less than stellar knee, I guess you could call it.
By the way, Keith's on Long Island. I'm in New York City. You want to see the street where I'm?
Yeah, what do you got?
Here we go. Here, I'll show you. Here. This is where I'm at. Right here.
Wow, look at you.
Look at that.
That's...
It's a New York City street.
I have only been in that building once. I was in that building once a few years back. Did a one of those guest spots for PIX.
Nice. We got to get you in studio again.
Listen, man, I'll bring my tuxedo.
I don't think you have to wear your tuxedo, but
I'm just throwing it out there. You call, I answer.
You're the former actor. We got to get you on air here.
I will do whatever you want. I will follow you through the gates of you know what.
Well,
all right, so it is the Bettorcast, and tonight we've got the Jaguars at the Saints. You want to join the Bettorcast contest by answering pregame questions now. Get all of our picks for the game. You can sign up for On Demand on the Bettorcast app. Download the Bettorcast app. It is free in the Apple App Store and the Google Play stores. Sign up for On Demand. Moose, the alarms are going.
Yeah,
be careful. No. Be careful. Run! Moose is on the loose. We'll see you tomorrow.